Hey guys, you're here. Good News Network. Jimmy the Gooch Colucci from Queens, New York. Welcome to Potholes and Street Corners. I'm here with my sidekick, Mike Smith. What's going on, Mike?
Yo, what's up? It's an interesting name you've chosen. That's the first thing I want to talk about personally.
Yeah, what's that? Tell me. Ask me.
I'm very concerned. It's the first thing that I think as a Floridian. I get potholes. I get that. But street corners, I think hookers.
Well, you're not far off. Depending on where you grew up in New York, there were ladies of the nights in some parts of the area. Like if you're in the Bronx, Queensboro Plaza. Don't ask me why I know these things.
Okay.
However,
Story to be
Manhattan, I'm telling you, it's just the way it is. But street corners in general in New York, everything's a neighborhood. Back in the 70s and back in the 80s when I grew up, there were some neighborhoods you just didn't go into, yet you still had friends from everywhere around the five boroughs.
So, assuming that a majority of our people are not from the Bronx, or New York, or a borough, whatever that is, can you explain to our people what the heck the difference between a borough and just a city is?
All right. If you're from New York, okay, the city is Manhattan, period. Like, I'm from Queens, but people down here in Florida, in the Tampa Bay area, oh, you're from Queens, you're from the city. No, the city is Manhattan, just like the song, She'll only come out at night, the mean and hungry type. That song's about Manhattan because she will eat you up.
I did not. Are we talking about
Hall & Oates?
Hall & Oates?
Yeah. That song's about Manhattan. Everybody thinks it's about a broad, but it's not.
I mean, you just blew my mind right there because I wouldn't even thought that, honestly. Okay, so there's 5 different boroughs?
Yes, there's 5 different boroughs.
And then Manhattan.
That's a borough also, but Manhattan to us is the city.
Why?
It's just different because Manhattan never closes down. If you live in Queens...
I mean, unless it's COVID.
Well, yeah, except if it's COVID, right. But if you're from Queens or Brooklyn or the Bronx or Staten, Italy,
I thought it was called Staten Island.
It is, but that's where...
How about New Jersey?
What about them? The exit state.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a garden state.
Now, let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
My great-grandparents didn't come off the boat to land in New Jersey, okay?
That's debatable. Okay, so you have all these different cultures within these little boroughs as well, yeah?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Background, I am a Florida dude. My whole life, never left. I've tried a couple times, but you always come back. My co-host here, the Gooch, is my brother-in-law, and he has been here since the mid-'80s, and has never... You can hear him breathing right now. You can hear that. You could take the boy out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the boy, is I think what they say.
Absolutely.
So basically my whole life has been, the experience that I have with New Yorkers has been him. I'm not saying that was a good thing, by the way. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was a thing and it happened. So the part of what we're going to do here is kind of shoot what we think current events, shows, TV, topics, religion, all that stuff. All of it's up for grabs. We're going to do the best we can to give 2 very different points of views on the whole thing. Because he has this vision in his mind of how things used to be. And I would think that if you spent any more time in New York, more recently, it's definitely, I don't think, is the way you remember it, if I had to guess.
Listen, let me ask you a question.
Yep.
What year is it right now?
Oh, God, 2025.
No. Up here, it's 1984. Period. It's 1984, and that's how I handle everything. And there's something else you brought up I wanted to make a little touch on a little bit, all right?
Yeah.
Me being from New York, you being from Florida,
yeah.
I don't understand why is it when I meet people not from New York, they have this urge to ask me either I'm from Brooklyn because I'm Italian, which I'm not from Brooklyn, or they have to give me their opinion on what they think about New York.
Are you saying this is explicitly I'm a Florida native thing, or is this other people who live here from other garbage
Forget
states?
about it. Don't matter where they're from, even if they're from Indiana. The people will come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're from New York? Yeah. Are you Italian? Absolutely. Oh, you must be from Brooklyn, and you must have mob ties. If I had mob ties, would I be living in Newport Richie, Florida?"
I mean, to be fair, Newport Richie, Tarpon Springs, these areas, Tampa. I mean, you've seen Donnie Brasco, right?
I understand that, but like you said, that was then. That's when Traficante was down here. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But you know how it is.
Yeah.
Most of the time, these people say to me, they go, "Why are all New Yorkers mean?"
I mean, it's probably because of obesity.
Listen, come on. We're not mean. We're over aggressive friendly. That's how we like to look at it.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. Yeah, you guys are terrible drivers. That's number one. Top of the list is driving. I've been in the car with you. It's not always a safe space, okay? I have seen the way other New Yorkers react when things go wrong here. It's general panic because they don't understand that literally everything in Florida is trying to kill you. I don't care who you are or how long you've been here. If you step outside, it's basically like you live in the trailer park version of Australia. That's what Florida is. So everything here is trying to kill you. For instance, I had a client earlier this week, didn't seem to comprehend that we get tropical storm variety of weather in the middle of the day on a Friday. No clue whatsoever. Oh, I just transplanted here 2 years ago, and we were here for the hurricanes. No, you don't get it. You don't get the flavor of Florida. You know, I argue that we have more diversity between, and I know you have diversity between the boroughs, but between Florida, there's 3 different levels of Florida. Okay, you've got Northern Florida, which is basically Southern Alabama. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got Central Florida, which is basically, and that in itself has 3 different sections of it. You've got St. Pete, you got Tampa, you got the Orlando district, and you got over Fort Myers down there, and then you go to the other coast and you got Daytona and St. Augustine a little bit. Not so much Gainesville because that's almost like Southern Georgia. Gainesville is, right? Mm-hmm. But like Central Florida itself has like 6 different subsections, and anything that's south of Alligator Alley is basically North Cuba.
Pretty much.
So I think Florida, maybe it's because we have so much influence from New York that we really sectioned ourselves up pretty well too. But yeah, the people that come here, I don't to answer your question, I don't think all New Yorkers are mean. I just think it's the way that they are.
Well, you got to remember too, okay, the lifestyle back home versus the lifestyle
in 1984,
here.
You mean?
Well, that's right. 84 to 2025, it's hustle and bustle. I mean, you got to move. You don't move in New York, forget about it. You're going to get knocked down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Can we start right this very second?
Sure.
Can we start a forget about it tally here? For every time Jimmy says forget about it, let's come up with something fun to do on the show, or maybe have a buzzer or something like that. So every time he says it, we have to ding him because it's already excessive. We've just started. We're about 8 minutes in, and you've already hit the forget about it limit for me for the day.
Well, listen, that's how I talk. What
Sometimes.
do you expect? I mean, when I get into the mood, when I get into my New York, when I get to talk about my home state, which I will admit I would not move back to. I'll be the first one to say it. It's not the New York I grew up in. Here's an example. This is true. I was born, like I said, in Queens, but I grew up in Whitestone, and I used to run in Flushing, okay? And I was on the Whitestone page on Facebook. It's about a year ago. And just, seeing if I had any friends on there that I grew up with, And they were complaining about kids riding their bikes in between the parked cars. And one kid, it was an accident. bumped into a lady and she dropped her groceries. Nobody got hurt. It wasn't crazy. The kid wasn't doing anything wrong. He was riding his bike. They had an uproar on Facebook over these kids on the bike. So I responded, listen, do what they did when I was a kid. The next time he's on your bike, knock him down. He'll never come on your block again. This happened to me in 1978 on 24th Avenue. I'm 60 years old. I haven't been back.
It's funny that it's etched in your mind like that. Like it made such an impression on you and your bicycle riding that it's stuck in there.
When you got three guys running at you with bats in their hand, telling you to go to your block and ride your bike, and they grab you, you're not going to forget that.
And this is where at?
Queens.
And Queens is where geographically?
Okay, well, there's Manhattan. That's going to be far. I would say probably that's going to be I'm bad with the Northeast. It's going to be far. Then you got Brooklyn. That's going to touch Manhattan.
This is just the island.
Right. Then you come to Queens. Then you got Staten Island all the way to the left. I don't really deal with Staten Island, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
I've just never been a fan. No offense to anybody from Staten Island, but I went there to play
Full
softball.
offense.
Stop. I went there to play softball a couple of times, but basically, really, all they had was the dump in the prison. There was no reason for me to go there. Oh, yeah, it's still there.
Is it the same place to dump in the prison or the same property?
Nah, it's not the same property. I mean, but, So I've never been a fan.
How could you pack so much different culture in such a small space? How does that happen?
Look, that's why New York is the way it is. That's everybody. Plus, start thinking about nationalities. Think about that. You're talking about just the boroughs. You got a big Italian influence. If you're in Flushing, Queens, there is let me be politically correct, a Asian community that is, I think, the largest in the United States. Just like Greektown here in Tarpon Springs is the largest Greek community. Second's got to be Astoria, Queens. That was always Greektown. You have a very large African-American part in New York.
Yeah.
Irish, and the list goes on and on. Where I grew up in Whitestone, it was pretty much Italian and Irish. I mean, we had one family on our block that were Greek, and we called them the Greeks. And they weren't even allowed to play with us.
But they had awesome food, though.
Well, not like the Italians. We taught the world how to eat. Forget about it.
I really need a buzzer for that. I'm going to start bleeping it out. Like when I do post, I'm just going to bleep it all out. Just cut it right out. Okay, so so you use the example of riding a bicycle and you're not on your block, right? No. So not only did you have these sections of the island that were all separated by boroughs, but within those boroughs you had different blocks that had different cultures, that had different peoples, that had different this, had different that.
Yeah.
You didn't want to get caught on the wrong block, is what you're saying?
Well, and not just the block. I mean, Whitestone, and plus, do me a favor. Let's not call it the island. Because
it's an island.
I understand that, all right? But I have this argument with people all the time.
It's an island.
But it's not Long Island.
Yeah.
Long Island is the island.
Okay.
I'll put it to you this way. You go to this day, you go to Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, walk up to a guy on the corner and say, so you live on the island? It ain't going to end well for you. The island is Long Island.
I think eventually we do a series where we just go on the streets in New York and talk to people.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean,
it'd be fun. I'll just say a bunch of really inappropriate things to them.
Listen, at least if we go to New York together, I'm telling you, I'm 300 pounds now. I'll take you to places to eat like
you probably can't eat it.
Oh, yeah, you can.
I probably can't.
You like seafood?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Oh, Maron, I'll take you to Randazzo's.
No, it's anything that ends in Azzo's, I'm not going.
Randazzo's has been there for decades. Yeah. Then there's Lenny's Clam Bar.
Oh, I'm out. Clams, no.
How about pizza?
Absolutely. Ray's Pizza, right?
Forget about Ray's. You want good pizza? I take you to Spumoni Gardens, L&M in Brooklyn. I'll take you to a Maury in Whitestone. That's classic New York pizza. You get the flop and everything.
I don't know. I mean, the pizza I could probably get down with, but I don't do seafood unless it's like Gulf of America caught food. I'm not doing anything from the Atlantic coast.
You got to try bluefish.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I mean, no, no. All I know is one fish, bluefish. Two fish.
Bluefish, fluke,
Yeah, nope.
albacore.
Those don't even sound like fishes. Grouper, salmon, flounder. That's about it. Maybe some tuna.
Oh, that's what albacore is.
That doesn't sound. See, that sounds to me like you're saying the word albacore, not it's delicious tuna. So I think there's some semetics there. And when you call it that, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, if we go back home where I'm from, my cousin, Captain Mike, he's a captain of the fishing boats. He's been doing this his whole life. I let him know ahead of time. We don't got to pay. You'll catch some big fish, let me tell you.
Hey, but can you eat them?
Absolutely.
Why?
Why not? Why wouldn't you be able to eat them?
Where are you going to catch them at?
In the water.
Like open water or like
The ocean.
not in the Hudson or something like that?
Oh, no, man. Who's going to go to the Hudson? No.
People do that.
Oh, I'm not. I'm
Watch
not
the
them
internet. People are poor there. It's crazy. People are fishing in the Hudson. It's gross.
Nah.
Yeah.
I used to fish underneath the Whitestone Bridge.
Again, I have no idea where that is. So
It's in Queens. I told you. That's where I grew up.
I don't know where Queens is either. I couldn't put it on a map. I couldn't tell you.
You know nothing about Queens?
I mean, little to nothing about New York in general.
I was very fortunate because growing up in Whitestone and running in Flushing, I am a diehard New York Mets fan. We used to walk to the stadium, Met games, especially back in from 85, 86, and 87. The few years my heart wasn't broken. The Jets used to play there. One of my friends had season tickets, even though I'm a Giants fan. I got to go to a couple of Jet games. Very few people now could say they've seen a football game at Shea Stadium. Well, Shea Stadium's not even there. Now it's Citi Field. So that's another thing about New York, too. If you're not a Met fan, you're in the Bronx, you got the other team. You'll be a Yankee fan. You got the Knicks, you got the Rangers, you got the Islanders. It's a great sports town. If you don't want to go for the food, the sport alone is fantastic, if you could afford it.
Well, there's just so many people, so many different sports teams to choose from. I think it's kind of excessive, don't you think?
You know what? I guess if you're not from there, you might agree with that. But me personally, that's how I grew up. I mean, it's nothing like being in a bar and you're arguing with somebody over the Mets and over the Yankees. See, the Met fans are educated. We could throw numbers at the Yankee fans. All the Yankee fans go with.
I mean, it's easy to know numbers when you don't win championships. I mean, that's what you hang on,
Okay, you want to go down that road?
I mean, I don't know anything about baseball other than the Mets are not great, and the Yankees probably were the best team that's ever played baseball.
Well, yeah, if you want to go back to 1930s, 40s, and 50s, absolutely.
I mean,
they had the run in the
listen,
90s.
Who did the great Bambino play for?
The Boston Red Sox originally.
But then, okay, that's all I know about baseball. It's all I need to know about baseball. Plus, what kind of name is the Met? Like,
It's the Metropolitans.
like the train?
The Metropolitans.
So they're named like a train, like the New York trains.
Well, the New York City is the metropolitan city.
So not like the Metro, not like the subways.
No, not the Metro.
Gotcha,
No.
okay.
But you said train. What triggers me is the 7 train is what goes by Citi Field where the Mets play. And the 7 train, back in the day, the trains used to always be red. They were called the Redbirds.
Because they were painted red?
Yeah.
Graffiti or no?
There was at one time, but Giuliani cleaned that up. Good Italian American.
Well, that's about the time. What about a decade after you left the city? He started that. Right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. When I left, he pretty much took over. Because I came down, I moved here. You may not know this. I actually moved here as a kid in '78. And you talk about a one-horse town here in 1978. This place was not ready for a kid like me.
Big fish, small pond.
Well, check this out. My first day of school was at Gulf Junior High School. Okay? And I was late to class.
Wait a second.
What?
We got to back it up for a minute.
Okay.
Even though we're so you leave in 84. Is that what you said? You leave New York in 1984?
Actually, I left New York and came back here. It was 87.
Okay. So prior to that, you were here.
Yeah.
And you were at Gulf High School, middle school.
Middle school and high school, yeah.
How?
We moved here in the late 70s. Okay? My father had some health issues, and they said Florida would be better for him.
That was the lie they sold to everybody, yes.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a 13-year-old kid. I come down here. I'll never forget my first night here. We come down, and we're having dinner at my aunt and uncle's house. And my uncle says to me, Jimmy, take your brother and go watch TV in the living room. I think the channels in New York are the channels all around the United States. I've never been anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm playing with the old rabbit ears, trying to move stuff. My uncle goes, what are you trying to do? I says, I'm trying to get the Met game. He goes, we don't get the Mets down here. I looked at my father and went, die. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. We're probably lucky we had, any over-the-air anything.
Well, we had Channel 44, WTOG.
Shout out to WTOG, still going.
There you go, baby. They would show the Cubs, the Braves. They would have like a game of the week, and sometimes the Mets would be on it. Mm-hmm. And I would be thrilled to watch them lose back then because it was the Mets, still my Mets. My first day of school, though, at Gulf Junior High School, I dressed like I would dress in New York. I thought I looked pretty good, to be honest with you. I was about 140 pounds. I had my dark jeans on. I had my leather Capizios, nice shirt. My cigarettes were up here in the top of my shirt. Dark glasses. I walked into class late because, again, I didn't know where I was going. I sat down and the teacher called me up to the front of the class. And he was from Tennessee. I'm not going to mention his name. And he went, son, where are you from? And back then I still had an accent, not like now. So I looked at him and I went, I'm from New York. He went, you're going to fail my class. I had a few choice words for him. I was in school 40 minutes. I was sent to the office, and my father got a call.
Oh, it's so funny that you say that because in that time, in the late 70s, is really when specifically like outside of Tarpon and Clearwater, everything kind of north of that started, Dunedin, but then everything north of that started developing, and those golf and stuff like that opened in the 50s. There was a massive influx of what I call the first generation of New York, second generation. In other words, parents that had kids that came here for one reason, health or retirement, or even like when my father came here, he had two teenage kids, so they came here and they went to school just like you did in the 70s and 80s. How funny is it that the teacher was not prepared for that, to have somebody come in that wasn't from Holiday or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, because I get sent home, and my father's like...
All right, so minor technical difficulty there. We're back, and we were talking about... What were we talking about? School and people living here.
Yeah, the school's not being... The teacher not being prepared and sending me to the office.
What did you say?
It wasn't polite.
And what did your father say?
It wasn't polite either.
Did he go and talk to the principal, or was it one of those scenarios where?
Check this out. He did.
Bring that microphone down to you.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Right. Sorry, you'll get used to it.
So check this out. He did. Now I want you to move the clock up a couple years. My brother is 8 years younger than me. Now he's in Gulf Junior High School, and he gets the same teacher.
Okay.
There was another kid in the school with the same last name, Colucci, as me. Only difference is he was from Pennsylvania, Phillies fan. We never got along. And he was a better student all around. A little bit of an athlete from what I understand. Anyway, my brother goes to class and the teacher says, "Who's your brother?" And my little brother, proud, goes, "My brother is Jim Colucci." And he goes, "What I couldn't do to your brother, I'm going to take out on you."
Oh, man.
Now my father had to go up. And let's just say that
Don't
wasn't
mess with
pleasant.
Frankie.
No, let me tell you something. My father was a good man. He didn't look for trouble. But in this case, that teacher had to get straightened out. It's funny. After my father talked to him, my brother got an A in the class. I think it was the only time he ever got an A.
We had to do that once with our oldest. It was actually a couple years back, and it was just like this teacher had it out for him. And you know, I'm a nice guy. I'm not out there to make somebody's day bad. But this teacher in particular was just basically harassing him every chance that she got. And to the point where he's like, you know, I think she's doing it on purpose. And he goes, I'm not trying to make her act mad at me. I'm just simply breathing in her class. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's set up a conference. And this is post-COVID, and teachers don't want to meet anymore. This is the weirdest thing is the Florida school system is overloaded because people don't stop moving here. This is every time I turn around, they're building a new community and people are moving here, and the schools can't handle it. And so, to some degree, the teachers can't handle the kids, right? So really, to make a extremely long story as short as humanly possible, because we are on a time frame here, the teacher got on a conference Zoom with me and the assistant principal at the time, assistant principal of I don't know, 9th grade or something like that, whatever grade he was in. And our oldest had told us these are the things that make her upset. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me pack that in my brain a little bit. And it got to the point where I was just like, I was using some very choice, politically correct, and very nice words with her, but it was my tone, the tone in which I said it. And I said something that could have been construed as being funny, and she lost it. She's laughing and I'm like, oh, you think this is funny? I'm not joking. I said, I don't know what's going on with you in that school and you, Mr. X principal. I said, but y'all need to figure out exactly what's wrong with this lady, because she clearly is not capable of handling sarcasm by any means. She thinks me as an adult trying to talk to her about a serious situation is funny. And she's like, well, I don't think it's funny, Mr. Smith. And she starts crying. She loses it. He goes, I see what's going on here. He dismisses her, hangs the phone up with me, and then calls me on the phone. He goes, yeah, I get it. He goes, just so you know, you're the only one that's been able to get her to crack. This is the 5th complaint we've had this year about her. She will be removed from our campus by the end of the day. She got fired.
Unbelievable.
She got fired because she was essentially using her, you know, I hate to say this, but, you know, sue me if you want, teachers. But I think teachers, some teachers don't go into teaching expecting to wind up the way they are, and go into it and they wind up becoming the worst version of the educators they want to be. And they don't know what to do about it. They can't handle it for one reason or another. I think that was very much the case with this. And she was a little bit of an older teacher. She'd probably been around a while.
Sure.
But just like what happened with Frankie and the principal and her dad, we never had a problem with that school ever again. And he eventually transferred to a different school, and he's much happier now. But you know, the school systems, talking about what we originally said was you coming down here that early, have always been playing catch up. And that's every county, coastal county in Florida. If you live on the coast, either side, and you go to public school there, there's no hope. There's no hope. There's too many, 40, 50 kids in a classroom. It's crazy.
You know, one thing, though, I do want to say, I mean, for every teacher that may not be good,
Yeah,
there's at least 20 good ones.
absolutely.
I mean, the majority of the teachers, they don't get enough pay. They don't get enough supplies. They don't get enough support. And unfortunately, a lot of the parents, they dump the kids off at the school.
I mean, listen, we could do 3 hours on the societal breakdown of parenting in the last probably 20 years.
Oh, sure.
The last 20 years, it's gotten more and more prevalent that you have a kid, and I'll say this from coaching youth sports, not even, I would say the majority of athletes are from broken houses that have had divorces or that have a single parent the whole time or don't have a dad or don't have a mom. It's the majority. So you got to imagine that makes up a good part of your daily class too.
Sure.
You know? And not again 3-hour conversation here, but I think that there should be two parents present in a child's, no matter what that scenario looks like for you. If you're divorced or whatever, you got to be present as a parent.
Absolutely.
And that actually leads into, I think, some of the other stuff we're going to talk about on the show here, is like, you know, how you have a daughter who's tremendously successful. Shout out to my niece, who has made a lot with her life, and this is the best way to say it, didn't always have everything she possibly could have wanted to be where she is now, right? Mm-hmm. She had my father until he passed. She grew up with you and my sister, and then you guys got divorced when she was a teenager, which is the worst time statistically for that to happen. And because you're such a good dad, honestly, and stayed active in her life, she came out phenomenal, and she's a great young person. And you know, their generation is totally screwed, but that's a whole different story. And you know, things. I'm 41, so I'm, got a couple decades behind you, but I think a lot of some of the ways you grew up are a shared experience in the ways that I grew up. My parents were older. My father was from New York, but he definitely was not, wouldn't say my dad was not the typical New York guy, right?
Excuse me. No. It's funny because your father was from Arthur Avenue in the Bronx.
What does that mean?
Arthur Avenue is like another little Italy. It's very, the boys are still there. They're still the same Italian places. It's a very high profile Italian neighborhood.
Oh.
Your father was Irish.
Yeah.
But he didn't act, talk, or walk anything that suggested. You would have thought, if anything, he was from upstate. Which is like being from Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Forget it. Hey, I got it. I didn't say it that time.
You almost got it. You almost had. You almost did it again. Yeah, that was. I would. Again, it was. He being older when he had me. I never even. It's like we were talking about it before. I think there's two different. I didn't experience the same upbringing that I think, my sister and brother did, and I think he was very different. But like you said. Talk to my grandfather. You wouldn't. Second generation New Yorker.
Your grandfather was a street guy.
Yeah.
You may not.
No, I know.
You have an idea.
Yeah.
I hung out with your grandfather a little bit, and your grandfather was an Irish thug. I remember he was 80-something years old, and we were in the supermarket. And some guy bumped into him. And it was an accident. And your grandfather was like, "You a tough guy?" I'm like, "Grandpa."
Sounds about right.
Yeah, he's like, "You better get that bad look off your face or make a move. Because I'm not." And I'm like, yeah, I miss your grandfather. Your grandfather was, he was good people.
It's funny. We have almost nothing of anything he ever had. Like, we don't even have his birth certificate. We don't have any of that stuff. So we don't know, where he was born, where he grew up. Of course, we could probably find out, but he was a merchant marine too, which all of those records are gone. They were all paper. And apparently, so I don't know if you've ever done this, but they have this naval boat in the harbor at Tampa, and it's actually a merchant marine boat. So that was his last function. But anyway, I was talking to one of the tour guys about it, and he said it was very common for the guys to change the papers. So that you don't know ever who's on the ship unless you have your paper. Nobody knows anybody. Mm-hmm. So you could stack your time. You could go and you could do 4 or 5 separate voyages and make all kinds of money doing it because you're bringing goods over to wherever, France or wherever you're going, So I asked him, I said, "Is there any way to track any of that down?" He goes, "It was all literal paper. It was paper, and they folded it up, and when it was over, threw it out."
Gianna, my daughter, your niece, has started to do her family tree.
Oh, awesome.
Now, I know on my side of the family, she found my grandmother and grandfather Colucci, their paperwork and ID badges from the boat they came off of from Italy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing this. And then she also found on my mother's side, because my other grandfather was born here, and he served in World War II, found his ID card that he had to fill out. God forbid if he would have, got killed or whatever. Yeah, so she's found all this stuff. Stuff on my great-great-grandmother, because I knew some of the names and stuff, and I was helping her put it together. But one more thing, though, about your grandfather, just to crack me up. He gave me this big yellow canary Cadillac he had.
Oh, my God. No way.
This thing was a boat, and that was the color, canary yellow.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And here I am, some Goomba from Queens, New York, and I'm driving this. And when I get the car, he says to me, "You could fit 2 bodies in the back of that truck."
My God. Oh, my God.
Good times. Definitely good times.
And, I was like 16 when he died, I think.
Yeah, about that.
Somewhere around there. It's like my sophomore year, I think. And, he was, I would say, a fairly private person for the most part. But you could tell, like, he had the tattoos, he had the attitude. Even when he was older there, it was like...
Oh, yeah.
And I don't ever know what happened between him and my dad. I never found out, but I know they did not get along at all.
Your grandfather was a boxer also.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Because my grandfather was a boxer as well. I have his cards and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot. I mean, he was like you said, he was a New York guy. He was a mason, I'm pretty sure. I know that he was a bricklayer and he did a lot of that kind of stuff. So I think when I was a kid, whether or not it's true, I've never found out. But he told me he helped put some of the cornerstones in the Empire State Building, which I would, the timeline matches. Yeah. So it's very possible he did it when he was a young man, because he would have been born in like 1906 or 8 or something like that.
When he was retired, we're talking for decades.
Yeah.
He was still paying his union dues.
Yeah.
Still paying. Me and your sister almost went back to New York. I had it all lined up. He picked up the phone in front of me.
Oh, you told me the story, but I want to hear it again. Yeah.
Picked up the phone, says, "My grandson's coming to New York. I need him to be sponsored in the union." They said he starts work within a week of him calling me. His application will go to the top. So I had a union job waiting for me.
At 20-something years old?
I'm going to say it was probably 23.
Yeah.
Gianna wasn't born. I got married at 25, so that's a little bit off. Probably 26.
Yeah.
Was Gianna wasn't born yet. And had a place to go to. I was going to bartend on the weekend and bounce again like I used to. I mean, all of that was going to, and your sister was like, "Nah, I don't think so." And if not, but you know what? Who knows what could have happened? I may not have had my daughter.
Yeah.
I could have been dead. I could have been working in the city, God forbid, on 9/11. I mean, you just don't
never know
what could have happened. So
that's incredible that he just picked up the phone and made a phone call, though.
Yeah, right in front of us.
Yeah. That's. I wish I would have known him better. Like I didn't get any real quality time at all. I mean, I was a kid and I have pictures and I know he, adored me, but I have very little memory of a lot of things, but I know he was that guy. You could tell even when I was a kid that he was like, you wouldn't want to mess with him, you know? So
absolutely not.
So that's, yeah. And, I wonder, I do often wonder, I think about, with how things are now with, kids and the lack of respect children have and how I think there are so many things going back to like what we're talking about with kids and having to battle uphill right now to have a life. If you're a young person, when I'm saying young, anything younger than 30 right now, it's going to be tough. And I think that's like in my opinion, like a societal breakdown. It starts with education. Well, maybe it starts with family units, and it starts with the education you choose to get. Because I'm here to tell you, school's not for everybody. You can choose to do something with your hands, or the internet is absolutely free. That you'd be amazed how much you can learn in an afternoon that can make you an expert on something. So, but that, I think that the years that you grew up in are long gone. I don't think any of that happens anymore. I think you're more likely to run up on some young thugs in parts of the city, probably parts where you grew up, and not thugs in your way, not reporting back to some guy in a Italian restaurant in the back corner, but like legitimate gangs in the city that are organized and not, I hate to say it, giving back to the community. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think it's very interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to talk about during the show when we start to really get going here. And I think potentially having guests in and talking about maybe some of the shared experiences that you've had as a New Yorker, which shouldn't count anymore because you've definitely been here longer.
Yeah, I have actually. I have.
You should get like, if they gave cards, you'd be like 65% off. Like that would be like an approximation of time spent here versus there.
And you know what's crazy? It's been 10 years since I have been back home. 10 years this July it was. And it's funny because every year I say I'm going to go up. And I still got friends there. I'm friends with the guys I grew up with. We're talking 45, 50-year relationships.
Yeah.
But every time I want to go up, something more important comes up.
Yeah.
Like like one time I wanted to go up, but Gianna needed books for school. That was my priority, not me going to New York.
Right.
So I got one more trip left. I want to go up. Other than, God forbid, a funeral, I want to go up. I want to visit some of the old bars. I mean, we used to play softball on the concrete, in a concrete league, right? My own whole field. They put artificial grass down. They put benches and flowers.
Bougie.
I'm like, what are you doing? Come on.
Well, kids got to protect their knees now. You can't be scraping knees.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, listen, kids are soft.
Oh, yeah.
The new, not everybody, and this is probably too much of a blanket statement to be accurate, but there are a lot of kids out there, and there's a lot of parents that have not allowed their kids to fail gracefully.
That's right.
To go out and do things and be wrong at doing it. And as a parent, I'm guilty of that too. All my kids are, not adults yet, but I got one getting pretty close. And 18 is not like it was when I was 18. When I was 18, I was working and I had my own car and, practically living outside of my house completely and, in a serious relationship that we wind up getting married. So I can't imagine that for today's kids, that are out there. And the only people I've ever known are like Gianna and her husband. That doesn't happen anymore either. They just, have it being together 10 years at 20 something years old. It doesn't happen. So
I think back to when I was 18. When I was 17, think about this. When I was 17, I looked older.
Yeah, your generation looked old.
You
guys looked so old.
The New York City a driver's license didn't have pictures on them. I had a fake ID. I was bartending at 17. The drinking age was 18 then.
Yeah.
Then they changed it to 19. Then they changed it to 21. Mm-hmm. So I was always grandfathered in. But so I think back on some of the very dangerous things I did and predicaments I put myself into. And I thank God he had a better plan for me and that I'm still here. Yeah. Because I look at Gianna and her friends and they're all together. Their little crew's all together. And, Gianna, my daughter married her high school sweetheart. And I'm like, you've only dated one guy.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I understand that, but, coming from my background,
Well, you're like an alley cat, you know? Uh, so, yeah, I don't think there's anything. I think there should be more of that. I think that young people, I really do think that young sub sub 25 people should be getting married and having kids. It's a big deal. And I understand that's not for everybody, and you have your careers and you have all that stuff. And that's something that I don't really know where we're at in time, but I don't think it really matters that much. I read an article today that overwhelmingly, like 60% of young people are choosing a career path over being not married, but being parents. Because they define, that's a very unique distinction now. It's not that we're just not going to have kids. It's not that we're married and we're not having kids. And that's a big section. I know they say that, and we got to hope that somehow they change their minds, because realistically in 15 years, if that generation doesn't have children, you're talking about a huge part of the workforce that will not exist. They just won't have people to do jobs. And I know that we want to automate and we do all this stuff, but I don't get what happened. Like, all right, so I'm what they call an older millennial. I'm 41, going to be 42 this year. And I grew up in a time where it was the 90s, the early 90s, late 80s, and early 2000s were really the most developmental part of my life, for sure. I grew up in a household where I had older siblings that liked a variety of things, and I feel so blessed for that, because all of my siblings all had different personalities, and they still do. And that made me, I think, very much in combination with my parents and my mother being from where she was, made me who I am now. And I value things. I think I valued family because I had it for when we were much younger. And then when about 9 or 10, everybody kind of moved out, and it was just me and then my best friend, obviously. But I always felt like I wanted to get married earlier. And I don't know if that has anything. I just don't think that, again, it doesn't seem like it's even on the radar priority for kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, we were married by the time I was 22. So, yeah, because we'll be married 20 years this year. So we was 22 years old when we got married. It doesn't happen anymore. And now, by and large, people are not only not getting married, they're becoming domestic partners, wherever they call them. And then they're also choosing not to have children.
You know what's crazy is that my best friend Mark, his daughter's 30. Gianna's 27. Only 3 years apart. They grew up together. Christina and her friends all have kids.
Yeah.
Christina has 2, and she's about to have another one. And her other friends, too. 3-year difference now. And then you have my daughter and her friends. And probably more than half of them are not having kids.
Yeah.
I told her I want a little Met fan.
Yeah. Well, I think there's still hope. She's, one thing that I will say about Gianna, and it's not specific to all of kids her age, but she very early decided what she wanted to do for a career. There wasn't a lot of figuring out there. Mm-hmm. And once she's done with she's going for RN now, right?
No, RA.
RA.
She's already an RA. She's a charge nurse already.
Yeah, so she already has her career laid out. If she chooses to have a family when she's 30, still pretty young enough to have a family, have a successful career. And listen, I think there's something to be said about knowing when you're ready to do it. Financially, obviously, it's a lot easier to have kids if you get yourself set. Mm-hmm. But I think, by and large, people should get married, have children, and stay together, even when it gets difficult. I think
sure.
Just it's in that what that looks like to different is to everybody is different, right? But we just we need these young adults to be taking their. They say the number one driver in success is having a partner, having somebody to come home to, or having something to get home to, not just your TV or maybe a dog, pretty close, but having somebody to share your life and experience your life together. And that really, I think that's true of every generation, except for probably the last two. The sub 30 to early 30 generation. I mean, and not for nothing, we are the only couple that's still married out of all our friends who got married early. And not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, even me and your sister, and me and her, we're friends, right? We talk on a regular basis. We were together 25 years, and we were married 23.
Yeah.
I mean, so we gave it a good shot.
You did. Yeah, you did. I mean, things considered, you did a great job. But yeah, I think, but you made it, and you made a great human on top of that.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
So, and that's really important. Is decent people need to start making decent children, and not to go off subject too much, but you wouldn't, and make them fail. Have them to do things that are uncomfortable for them and put them out of their comfort zone, because that's where growth is, for those kids. And certainly what you experience. So circling back to what we talked about originally, going back to the bicycles and being on the wrong street, we didn't have that here in Florida. Like, it wasn't like, it was, first of all, too dang hot, right? So we spent a lot of our time in the pool and stuff like that. And subsequently we developed different kinds of relationships and bonds. And my two best friends, we have been friends 30, we were trying to figure out the other night. So we're all 41, 42, and we've all been friends since we were Mark and I have been friends since we were 4 years old.
Oh God, I remember all your friends at your birthday party.
Yeah. Yeah. And we make new friends over the years and stuff like that too.
Sure.
But the boys, the three of us have been together 35 plus years at this point, And that's like you and your friends up north. And I'll tell you right now, I think that our oldest, I think Leo has, a set of friends that he will probably keep the majority of his life, and they all are different. They all have different things. And as much as I think I gripe about it, I think that the best thing that we have, at least they do, is the dang internet. Because they don't live in the same states, or they don't do the same things. They don't get to see each other all the time. But every flipping day, I might complain. You might hear me on the show talk about how they're squealing on the top of their lungs playing whatever they're playing. But at least the kids are staying together, And I think that's part of also, I think we're right at the end of this weird societal breakdown where we value what people think about us online and Facebook and Snapchat and all that stuff. I think there's a revolution happening. I think kids are starting to realize that it's not about all that. It's about the relationships you develop with your friends. And hopefully that leads to a resurgence in parenting and family. And the one thing I would hope people, first of all, I hope you find God, because I've done that recently. And second of all, I hope that you figure out that the most critical part of your life needs to be spent with somebody who's going to walk with you, not behind you. Or not criticize you, or whatever the scenario might be. And I'm not saying that's easy or it can't be, but I think you're raising your children, whether it's in the 70s, growing up in the 70s, or growing up in the 90s. We all had we had same kinds of experiences at different times, and some of those are getting lost to time. Not that I was babbling there, but you know what I'm saying.
No, absolutely. I see with Gianna with her friends.
Yeah.
Because she knows, my best friend Mark is here. It's me, Mark, and Anthony.
Anthony was at the wedding.
Right. Anthony.
Yep. What a gem.
Right.
What an awesome dude.
Well, the three of us have three different personalities.
Yes.
I'm the loud one. And the risk taker.
Okay.
Mark is the sensitive, calm one.
100%. He's like my Mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anthony, also known as Tony Tone, was the muscle.
I thought it was Tony Tough Knuckles.
Nah, Tony Tone.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when he was really small, like in the 4th grade when I met him, we didn't think he was going to grow. We used to call him Piggy.
Oh, my God.
But I talked to Anthony.
You just told anybody who ever hears this, Tone. Piggy.
Piggy.
Okay, man.
But I talk to Anthony at minimum once a week.
Yeah.
My buddy John, who retired from the fire department as a lieutenant, served all through 9/11. I talk to him minimum 2 to 3 times a month. Anthony's brother, Luigi, talk to him constantly, at least once a month.
Yeah.
And these are the guys, like I says, I grew up with. Then if I go home, I got people coming over from Jersey. My buddy Carl Rock will come in, who I talk to on Facebook constantly. Mm-hmm. I'm very lucky in that sense. I'm like Norm. Wherever I go, they know my name.
That's funny. Yeah, I think you don't see that anymore. There's not, I'm not, listen, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but the people that get me, and I have a good network of friends and business connections and things like that. And, just again, going back to the way we were raised, that wasn't prevalent in my house. I don't know, maybe it skipped a generation between grandpa and me. I have no idea. But developing those relationships early in life, or even as a later adult in life, we've got some really good friends that are just amazing. We do activities with them. They want to go and do something, or want to do this, want to do that, or we got another set of friends that are, well, we go to football games and stuff with, and we do these awesome parades, and it's been a great experience the last probably 5 or 6 years. And to be an adult and make those kind of connections is super rare, you know? So when people just be nicer to each other, go out there and try to make friends, because it's lonely out there. And if you have kids and the kids see that, it's healthy for them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because raising kids today is difficult.
No, I'm sure.
It's difficult. I mean, unless you got some, I got some pretty great kids for the most part. My teenager doesn't give me too many problems other than trying to get up in the morning. I hope that stays that way. If I count the days that he gives me a hard time getting it up versus wondering where he is at night, I would take that any day of the week. So I try not to complain about it too much and count my blessings while I'm at it. So, but it's tough out there for parents. It's tough to raise kids, and it's tough for kids to go through this incredibly public lifestyle they have now. Everything is public, all of it, unless you choose not to. Imagine that. Imagine if you were riding little Jimmy, right? Little Jimmy. I don't know if you've ever been little. Just little Jimmy. Pedaling those little, banana seat bicycle down the road, right? Pretty close, right?
Yeah.
Fire hydrant kicking off. It's July. It's so hot you can't be inside. You're piddle paddling down the road, right? You got Tony Baloney's on the corner going, "Hey Jimmy, what do you got going on over here? Go run some. You got to run this here. Gotta give me some money. Run this errand for me, right?" You whack into somebody's car or whatever it is. You don't have to worry about it. It's Mrs. Gambino. No big deal. You run into her car all the time. No big deal. Today, if you did that, what do you think happens to you?
Oh no, it's not good.
Right? There's no sense of community.
No.
You think there's any neighborhood left in New York?
You know, it's funny. When I tell people I'm from Whitestone, they always say the same thing. Whitestone's still good. That's what they say. Whitestone's still good.
Why do you think?
Well,
A
Whitestone...
lot of families stay there?
Well, a lot of families stayed, but it's also upper middle class. So your houses in Whitestone, and it's been a while since I looked, so forgive me if I'm off, but I would say they're probably starting at 700,000 and up. Yeah. They've knocked down a lot of the old houses and put these huge mansions up, which last time I was there, it was like regular house,
Mini mansion.
And it was like, this doesn't belong on my block.
Yeah.
People also took ownership of their neighborhood. That's something else,
100%. Too. Yeah.
It's like...
Now you're a Karen if you want to know why somebody's on your street when they shouldn't be.
I came home one time, and my father was like, "Oh, what did you do today?"
He knew.
I was like, I went to school, I did this, and he looked at me and he went, "Mrs. Dalia saw you at Memorial Field hanging out by the handball courts smoking a cigarette." I was 12. I'm 60 years old. I'm still grounded for that.
Well, you're right. There's the sense of community is even like, so what I do when I go, my profession is going into other neighborhoods all across basically the coastal part of Florida here. And there's the closest thing you have to a community watch in most places is an HOA. And HOAs are the worst.
I know.
They are the worst. They want you to, I get to a sense like you live in an HOA neighborhood, everything should look the same and stuff like that. But like, they don't want you parking on the street. God forbid you have a child in there that wants to go play in the yard. It's not going to happen. That's why you have to have 6-foot fences in your backyard. Because, Karen and Dick next door don't want to see your kids coloring in the front. That's crazy to me. There is that in itself, I think, killed the communities. Even when I was growing up as a kid here, there was that. We had neighbors. We had neighbors that we were close with that would call the house, a landline, by the way, not a cell phone, call the house and say, X, Y, and Z is doing this. And not that we got a lot into trouble because we, it was just me and Mark and Richie. That was it. We weren't doing much, maybe playing hockey in the front yard or whatever. And we didn't. Mark would explore more than anybody, and he had a pager. But if his mom couldn't find him on the pager, she was ringing the garage phone, wondering where he was. That doesn't happen anymore. You can't be a shepherd or a steward of other people's kids because it's weird. You can't be the concerned neighbor because what if you're not an honest person? That's what people think nowadays. People think that everybody's out to get them.
People don't also people don't mind their business either. Like with these HOAs.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's why you joke with me. I say forget about it. You know what that means? It never happened.
Yeah.
That's what. Seriously, like where I live, right? We move into the condo day one. The president of my condo flies in on her broom and comes right, and she says to me, "Was that a dog I heard?" Because a couple of years ago I moved my mom in with me.
Yeah.
And she has a service animal dog. But the dog was in Spring Hill. And those of you listening, 45 minutes away. Someone already knew we had a dog. But we had all the paperwork, so...
Yeah.
So this
you can't have dogs in your neighborhood?
You're not supposed to, right? So she comes over and goes, "Was that a dog I heard?" I says, "Let me tell you something. You got some super hearing over there. Because that dog is 45 minutes away. Get out of my house." She don't bother us. And that's one thing good about being from New York. Can we be rude? Yeah. Can we be mean? Yeah. But have a reason. Don't bother us for petty things like that. She could have said, "I heard you had a dog." We do. It's a service animal. Here's the papers. Done and over with.
Man, that's a bit extreme.
Yeah, we don't see her often now.
No. Should retire the broom, maybe?
No, she's still there. I mean, the last time I saw her, she complained because my New York Giant banner was
on the front door?
Well, no, it was actually on the back door, but it faces the street. And she said to me, she goes, "I don't know if I like that." I said, "It's funny. I didn't ask you."
But like that's the kind of stuff that is just completely ridiculous and unnecessary for the most part.
And there's a way to talk to people.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? People might be listening now saying, "Well, he's an arrogant blah, blah, blah New Yorker." No. She could have said, "You're not supposed to have that face in the street. Could you please take it down?"
In my opinion, which is based in fact because I deal with every kind of HOA there is on the planet, most of the time, those boards and the presidents and vice presidents are made up of who's already the nosiest people in the neighborhood anyway, and typically are looking to use their position of power to make, and usually they're miserable little pricks, which is true, and they're looking to make themselves greater than somebody else because either they've never, maybe it's kind of one or the other. Either they have worked in a job where they were in control and they were used to it, or they never have and they want to feel that sense of power to some degree. It's kind of like youth sports. When you go in and you meet a youth sport head coach of a program somewhere, I've found this because I've coached many years now, and I'm a never was. I never played football in high school. I never wanted to play football because we had a terrible team, and I never had the athletic ability. I was not athletically gifted. I played baseball for a while, but not an athlete myself. Now I have some children that are athletes. Skipped generations, I have no idea. But most of the time, if I were in a program and there was a head coach, it was either a has been or never was, right? And I always try to fall into that category of, yeah, I was never was, but I was always good to the kids first always. And I'm probably one of the very few, to be completely honest. You got those guys that talk about their high school days, about when we were in this and we used to fight all this. And like, I think that's also what you get with HOA presidents is it's either a has been or a never was. And it's bad when it's a never was because they don't know what they're doing.
Do we got time for another story?
We're on limited time, right? We can do unlimited because I don't really know where we're at. We're probably a good hour and 10 if I had to guess.
All right, we'll finish with this then.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. I'm not going to mention, but where I used to live, condominium there at Gulf High School.
It's really narrowed it down there.
I had I'm on the second floor, and I had the American flag draped over my banister. Didn't think nothing of it. The thing was there for over a year. I would take it in like if it was raining or whatever, but no one ever said a word. My neighbors were nice. Downstairs from me I was in the middle, both sides of me. I guess they had a new board that took over. And I get a call from my next door neighbor, Jesse, Jesse is just one of the sweetest guys you want to meet. And he's from North Florida. Okay? And
Pensacola side or Gainesville side?
The Gainesville side.
So it's southern Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jesse calls me up, and I do my best impression. I have nothing but respect for Jesse, but he calls me up at work, and he's like, Jim! I'm like, Jesse, what's wrong? He goes, Jim, some lady came running up the stairs and told me to take your flag down. I told her it wasn't mine. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I go home, and he goes, they got a new board. They're going to start enforcing the rules. Now, you know me, well, a long time. Mm-hmm. You push me, I'm going to push back.
Sure.
So, I drive around the entire community for 2 days, took 2 vacation days to do this from work,
Yeah.
and wrote down 3,700 violations.
Oh, my God.
Okay? Then, I wrote a letter to the board telling them this lady needs to go. There are sunshine laws in the state of Florida. Did you know that?
No.
It's called the sunshine laws, yes, and it protects people who live in condominiums from the HOA.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, and I know it backwards. So, I start quoting the sunshine law. If you have an HOA, believe it or not, they are not allowed to confront you face to face.
Let's send you a letter.
They got to send you a letter because they have to have record that it was mailed. That's number one. They have to give you ample time to correct the violation. Normally, it's 3 weeks to a month. If you still disagree, you are allowed to ask for an appeal and go in front of the board to plead your case to try to get them to change their mind. Then you can fix the violation within a week. You could go back and you could start the process all over again if you really wanted to be that guy. That's not what I was aiming for. So I told the letter, and I had it, and I was ready. Plus, I called all the local stations, just like with Gianna that time in school.
Yeah.
So anyway, I call ABC, NBC, CBS, you name it. They're willing to come down to the condo.
Wow. That's funny.
And then what was crazy about it was I was going to a different church at the time, and I went to my men's group, and I'm locked and loaded. And the pastor there, Pastor Dave, who's a good friend of mine, has no idea what's going on with me, but he's talking about forgiveness. I looked at him and I went, you suck. So the next day I went back to the guy who was in charge of the condo.
Yeah.
I told him to retract my letter, and he was like, that's fine. I told him, I says, tell her she's forgiven this time. But he said it still needs to be addressed because she's not allowed to do that.
Right.
There is protocol and a procedure. Mm-hmm. Now, the funny part is, before I left, they were going to retar all the parking lots, right? So they gave you notice that the night before you got to move your car. One car didn't move. Guess whose it was? That lady's.
Wow.
Too funny, right? Talk about karma.
Yeah. Will she get sprayed on or what?
No, and I wouldn't have wished that on her.
Yeah.
But she held up. So at 8:00 in the morning, they're banging on that section of the condos. They don't know whose car it is.
Yeah.
And then she had to move it. But lead by example,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. That's exactly right. You never know who's watching. Well, there's always somebody watching.
Yes, they are. And that's a topic for another show.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that was a good test pilot episode here. I think we've got all the audio. I'm questioning whether or not we have all the video, but we'll check it out now. And we'll see how it goes. We're way over an hour. We're 45 minutes since we had our break. So we're too much to put on the radio, but that's fine. At least we got to get the good test in.
Absolutely.
Cool. You sounded great. That's really good. I would just say next time,
keep this closer.
I don't even know if it's closer is the right word. Like angle it down towards your mouth hole.
Right here. I should have had it right there.
Right in there. So you hear it?
Yep.
You can hear the difference. Like
absolutely.
If I go over here.
Sure. I got you.
If I get like right up in here.
Yeah, I got you.
Keeping them over here, Yeah. All right. We're out.
Down the street with your red lips and funky beats.
That was great.
You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.